once again, and welcome to Abundance Coaching TV. This is life coaching TV that makes a difference. I'm excited that you're here with us today. Whether or not you're watching us as a replay or you're actually watching us live, it's exciting to be part of something that is just so life-changing. And that's the goal of Abundance Coaching TV, is to make something that's just life-changing for you. So my absolute goal is to make sure that I have valuable content, stuff that you would be interested in, that also helps you move forward in your life. Because without moving forward, what are we doing? We're sitting still. And really, if we're sitting still, what are we actually doing? We're probably sliding backwards. So the exciting thing about today is that we are going to talk about the life purpose and abundance process. Woohoo! So once again, my name is Scott Epp with Abundance Coaching, and I help people connect with their authentic, amazing self so that they can live with passion and have abundance in life. And today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the life purpose and abundance process. And there's 12 steps to achieving this process, to achieving your life purpose and having full abundance in your life. And of course, it's a process. It's not just one step. It's not a blueprint that's exact, but it is a process. If you follow it, you will find your life purpose and you will have abundance in your life. This is a process that helps you get unstuck and find your life purpose so that you can live with passion and have abundance in your life. How would that feel? I'm sure that you would be a lot. You'd feel a lot, and you'd feel motivated and probably excited if that was something that was more real for you in your life. So I don't know where you are right now. I don't know if you feel like you're stuck. I don't know if you feel like you're frustrated with something, but I've been at those places. I felt like I was frustrated and I was stuck, and I really wasn't going the speed and the direction that I wanted to go. And even recently in my life, there was a point in time when I was doing everything that I knew that I could do. I was buying and selling houses, and I was satisfied with my life. I was single, and when I was buying and selling houses, I was also successful in the IT business. I sold computers and IT and technology and all kinds of stuff, and I was one of the top performers in the company that I worked for. So I'd found success in computers and technology. I found success in real estate. I found success in renting out houses, and there was something that I knew was deeper for me, something that was more for me. So back in around 2006, I started to feel a tug. I call it a call on my life. And that call was that I was to start releasing my hand from the properties that I was purchasing. Now, I have to confess, at that time, I was also finding that it was a lot of extra work, and there was a lot of things that were quite discouraging with the rental properties that I had. I had 26 renters that I was dealing with because I just had that many properties, and finding new renters and having renters destroy your place in spite of all your efforts to find good renters wasn't always that motivating. But I did feel a call in my life, and it was a spiritual call. And I felt that God was calling me to something greater, something bigger. And He wanted me to start opening my eyes up to what that is. And I didn't even know what that was. And it was so extreme that I actually felt that it was the right thing to do to go out and buy a car and sell my SUV. Now, that would have been a strange move to make, considering that I used my SUV to haul around all of my furniture and all of my extra stoves and fridges and things that would fail in my different properties. But that's what I felt inside my heart that I needed to do. So I did it, and I purchased this car, and it was great. It was wonderful, and it was actually at that time a fairly new Pontiac Grand Prix supercharged, and that was awesome. It was the first time I actually spoiled myself with a vehicle. But it was way greater than that call to know that there's something bigger. I was single, and I desired to be married as well. And I started to really just shift my mindset with doing everything that I knew how to do, which was purchase properties and go for it. And I was determined, and I was young, and I was a bit foolish at times, but I just went for it. If there's something that I wanted, I just went for it, and essentially I got it. So this is a big flip for me. So I moved out to Toronto, and that was a great deal to move out to Toronto. But moving out to Toronto was because I met a girl, and that girl is now my wife. And I flew out there for a wedding. I was in the wedding party. We met at that wedding. It was an awesome connection. I needed to respond to my inner gut feeling that this was the right move and ask this girl to dance. And if I wouldn't have asked her to dance, she was actually heading off to another wedding, and I would have missed my opportunity. So being from Saskatchewan, being out there in Toronto, I had a captive moment to make my decision, and that was to ask this girl to dance, and I did that. Now, why am I telling you all of this? Well, I think story is incredibly powerful, because in my story, there's a part that came shortly after this where I was really struggling and I was really frustrated, and I didn't know where I was going with my life. And with that struggle and with that frustration, I think that I can identify with a lot of people, because they also feel that in life, they are caught in a place, they just don't know exactly where to go. And that's where I found myself shortly after I started dating Nicole. Now, it wasn't her fault. I moved from Saskatchewan to Toronto to court her, to be close to her. And what that meant for me was releasing. Now, I had never released in my life. I was always self-sufficient. I always had what I needed. I always had what I wanted. I always purchased what I wanted. And I felt that call, like I said earlier, to start selling properties. So I started to sell these properties. And now when I was in Toronto, and all I took there was whatever I could fit in my car. I didn't have my identity anymore. I didn't have my fellowship. I didn't have my friends. I didn't have all of the different things that I led, because I was in Toronto, and it was a big city. I was from the small town, and here I was in Toronto, this big city. And I found myself starting to ask myself these questions. Scott, what is your life purpose? What is your meaning right now? Like, I know that you're chasing the girl, and that's great, but what do you mean? What does your life mean? And for the first time, I was unemployed in my life for an extended period of time. I moved there January 2006, or January 2007, and during that month, I went to a leader school, and then after that, I spent an entire month looking for a job. I spent a little bit of time, I flew out to Australia, which is where my wife is from, getting to know her family, and that was great. But then I came back home, and then for a couple more months, I was searching for a job. I applied, and I applied, and I applied, and I would be frustrated going to the computer, looking at the applications, and trying to write a good resume, and applying at different places, and making phone calls, and I was not trying to sell myself short and just get what I thought basic job would be. I wanted to get something that was a career. I thought that I was moving to Toronto, and this was my move. And I had no's, and I wasn't used to getting no's, and I was shut down. And to boot, I didn't have a place to stay for a good part of time. And I remember breaking down inside because I didn't know where I was. I didn't know what I really wanted. I had no clue really where I wanted to go. I didn't know what my values were. I had a terrible mindset, and I was letting things really get to me, which affected my relationship with my girlfriend at that time. And really, I wasn't making the best decisions. I wasn't taking that much responsibility for my life. And all in all, I wasn't feeling like I had that much purpose, and my life didn't matter that much. It wasn't a very good place for me. So I did persevere, and I finally got a job, and I finally did find a place to live. I wasn't homeless, and things did turn around a bit for me, and I did find that there was some success at this job, but it wasn't my real dream job. It wasn't like what I felt called to back when I was in Saskatchewan, when I felt this like excited move. And I don't know if you feel this for yourself. There's a moment perhaps when you feel, hey, I was called to something greater than I am. And it's exciting. And you're motivated, and you get to do action steps. And then it's just this drawn out long period where you're just doing whatever, and maybe it's not fulfilling, and maybe it's frustrating, or maybe you're discouraged through it. And that's what I felt. It's like I was called, and I was even saying, God, I was called to do something bigger and greater. I knew it when I was in Saskatchewan. Now I'm in Toronto, I'm here, I'm open, bring it to me, that'd be great. And it was like he was saying, it's not time yet. But the great thing is that I had an awesome relationship with my girlfriend, who then became my fiance and then became my wife. And through that earlier on process of being a husband, I must say that it was phenomenal and it was great. And we did have like a great honeymoon in Australia and all of that was phenomenal. But the questions, me being like a bit of a higher contemplator at that time and a higher driven with making a difference, or a higher influencer, I should say, I really wasn't on my path to do what I knew that I needed to do. I was still in a foreign city that I knew that I didn't want to stay in, and I wasn't doing everything that I needed to do or I felt called to do. Now, Nicole told me a little bit earlier than this about life coaching, and it appealed to me. And shortly after we got married, I decided to take up a course to become a life coach. Now, this is great, and this is going to lead into the steps that you see beside me here. But I tell you this story to illustrate how I came to really accept and understand and start using these steps, and how I've used them in the last 4 years to achieve my life purpose and really have that abundance that I needed to have in my life. But in order to get there, I feel it's important to talk about the struggle, and it's important to talk about the pit, and it's important to talk about the journey. So the journey for me continued. And the journey continued down the road where I just knew that there was something more, and I felt that it was coaching. So I went to school and I did my work, and we ended up moving back to Saskatchewan, which is where I was from. And at that time, what I did was I decided to go back to my old ways. So my old ways weren't bad ways, but my old ways were real estate. I knew lots about real estate. I was a real estate guy. That's just who I was. I knew real estate. I acted on real estate. I made so many successful moves with real estate. I went back to real estate. Now, we had a little bit of money, so it was fine to pour into some properties, and 2 of the properties that we purchased were phenomenal properties, and we actually still have one of those at this present time. But one of the properties that I went out for, I just rushed in. Now, previously, I would really seek a lot of God's counsel when I purchased a property. I would spend a lot of time thinking. This one, I was there with a realtor, and I had these big eyes about how I could tear apart this house. I could rip out the foundation from the bottom. I could tear apart the kitchen. I could totally just gut it, restore it, make it brand new basement, and sell it and make a mint. So I purchased it just like that. I made an offer and I purchased it just like that. Well, it was a great purchase price, but what I didn't really do, well, I didn't do at all, was take into consideration all of the different things that would end up costing us a lot of money. I did not put a ledger down and make a blueprint for all of the costs and all of the stages that I needed to go through. So what I ended up doing was putting my life coach business and training on hold and spent all my days working at this property. Now, what I found is that I had to find extra workers from outside of the town that it was. It was not in Saskatoon. It was in a small town called Blaine Lake. And I had to get workers from Meadow Lake. I had to get workers from Saskatoon. They'd all drive, and sometimes I'd have to lodge them inside the motel. And one time we hired people, and they're supposed to do the roofing, and I ended up getting a phone call from the motel manager saying that they're all drunk, and what are they doing here? And I was like, oh, well, they're supposed to do my shingles. Well, they obviously didn't. They took advantage of the free motel stay instead. And I had all of these negatives that came up, and cost factors, and getting plumbers from outside of the town, and all of these things. And then I ended up traveling with other people for hours, hundreds of hours, driving in the morning, spending the whole day there, spending the night there, working the next day, spending another night there, away from my family and away from my home. And after we even had one little baby, I still would do that same thing, to tile the floors, to drywall the walls, and do all of the necessary things that were needed. And the bills kept on coming, and bill after bill kept on coming, until all of a sudden we needed to make a lot of money before I could actually flip that house even to make something. Now, I don't know if you've been in a similar situation, but the feeling isn't very good when you're 3/4 of the way done a project and you know that you're way over budget. And you can't just sell it the way that it is because nobody's going to buy it the way it is, or they're going to just get it for a mint. And you know that you have to finish it off. So all of those paychecks to finish off that property weren't the most easy to make. But we made them. And we finally tried to sell it. Now this property wouldn't sell. We tried it. We tried to sell for 4 years. We had some renters in between, and we finally sold it last year for a major loss. Why do I tell you this? The biggest reason why is because I lost my why. I lost what was important to me in that story. I lost what was driving me. And when we go through these, you will see the steps, and I'll show you where I lost myself in this process and where I now know what to look for and how I can see these as markers for my life and warning signs. Okay, now I need to get back on track. And then I'm going to show you the 12 steps so that you don't have to stay stuck. You don't have to be frustrated. You don't have to make those bad mistakes and then stay at those places. You can move past them and you can move forward in a vertical process. And the life process, life purpose and abundance process will help you with that vertical process. So, what we're going to do to begin this process is I'm going to show you step 1. And then I'm going to explain how this all works. This is really excited. So I'm happy that you're here. I'm excited that you're here. We're ready to go. Here's step number 1. So step number 1 in the vertical life process is your life purpose plan. Your life purpose plan. Now, I didn't have a life purpose plan. I didn't even know what it was. I had no idea what it was. In fact, my life purpose plan really only became important to me when I came to life coaching school when they talked about it. And during life coaching school, they gave us the whole assignment on life purpose plans, and I was like, oh, wow, this is wonderful. Now that I have a grid to be able to figure this out, this is helpful. Why didn't I know this years ago? It would have helped me a lot. What is a life purpose plan? Well, first of all, everyone has purpose. Everyone has meaning. You were created for great things. And if you don't know your purpose, you can't leave a legacy. It's very difficult anyway to leave a legacy. And what I knew for myself is that I needed to start figuring out what my life purpose was. And we're going to show you a little video here. I recently did this video in front of an audience, and I talked about the why that matters. Because at the heart of life purpose is really your why. So we're just going to cue up this video, and we'll see you just in a moment. A living dog is worth less than a dead lion. Such a strange statement, isn't it? But how wise is that statement? What is your why? And why is it worth living? When I was a single man, I didn't have very many cares. I cared for myself. I had a social life. I had parties. I had friends that came over to my house. I became successful as a computer salesperson. I became successful as an entrepreneur as I bought, sold, and rented houses. I accumulated some wealth. I accumulated some friends. I accumulated some clout within the church that I went to. I had what I needed. I never really thought about my why. Why should I think about my why? I was content. I was satisfied with my life. Then I got married. And I started to think, oh, there's something that shifted inside of me when I got married. But I still carried along because my wife was very self-sufficient. She had the ability to fend for herself, pay for herself. She was actually 4 years older than me. So we joined this marriage. I still didn't need to really think about my why until one day. everything changed for me. It was the day that I became a father for the first time. I held my little son Josiah in my arms, and I realized that my life was not the same. That I had something way greater inside my hands that I was responsible for, and I started to question my life. I started to question my being. I started to question why I was living. And I started to question what my why was now. Perhaps you feel like you're at the same place. You're questioning what your why is today. The why is absolutely important to find out, as I've discovered. When you discover what your why is, you aren't only discovering yourself more, you're discovering what your future can be. But your why is not just important. It is important to be incredibly clear with what your why is. Otherwise, it will elude you. It has to be so clear that you have an idea of what it is in your future, and you can see it clearly in your future, even more prevalently than what you see right here in the present. You have to be able to see it in the future even more grandly than the immediate pressing needs that you have in your life. If you don't, you may get caught in the abyss of responding to every situation that comes your way. You may get caught in the abyss of just being scattered and just going along with everybody else, doing what everybody else does. The why is why we live. So why is a living dog worth more than a dead lion? Life is in the living, ladies and gentlemen. As I continued to contemplate this question, the why worth living, I came to a place for myself where I needed to know the answer. And I didn't need to just know the answer. I needed to know the answer. Because it drove me to this place of deep, compelling conviction that I needed to be someone that needed to also show other people what their why was. And that drove me to my profession today, which is coaching. And as a coach, I realized that there's something that's bigger inside of me, that I have a possibility of helping other people with their faith and with their hope and with their why. And at the end of the day, really what coaching is helping people find their why and live it. So wouldn't it be responsible for me to know what my why is and also live it first? So I came up with a strategy. And here's the strategy, ladies and gentlemen. The why is really in 3 parts. And I'll show you the most important part, which is the first part. And really it starts with a W with access points. The first axis is motivation. You need to know what motivates you, what drives you, what gets you going. Ask yourself what makes you happy. What do you crave to do? When you are excited about something, what is it that you get excited about? What can you lose the day just doing and loving? Then you know what motivates you. The second access point is passion. When you take a look at passion, what are you passionate about? Go deeper. Dig the layers deeper. And you can ask yourself, what do I really want? And then ask yourself even a deeper question. What do I really, really want? And pause. And brainstorm. And write it down. And go deeper and deeper and deeper into what really drives you until you get to a spiritual place. Because that's usually when people know what they're really passionate about. Now the why doesn't come with the next part. The why doesn't come without obstacles. That's a big word. My obstacle is writing the word. Why? Why are obstacles so important? Because they build you up. Because they're the things that really are the challenges that you need. However, obstacles also prevent you from accomplishing your why. Unless you're really grounded with your passions and your motivation, these obstacles will throw you in a different direction. So you need to know what the obstacles are. Write down what your obstacles are. Write down what's causing you to block, to not live in the passions and the motivations. Write down what the obstacles are because it's so important. The next part is commitments. Write down what you're committed to. When you write down and you know what you're committed to, you'll be able to go further and you'll be able to dream more. Ask yourself, what am I committed to? What do you want to be committed to? And write a list. And then write down, how committed am I? Are you committed 40%? Are you committed an 80%? Or are you all in? If you're committed and you're all in, how much more powerful is it for you to know that you're living something that's bigger? And by the way, when you're committed and you're all in, you will have the power to overcome those obstacles that hit us like this. And sometimes give us that left hook so we'll be able to move on. The next part that's so important is legacy. And I say legacy / purpose. Legacy is really the place where you know that this is what you're meant to do. This is what you're called to do. This is you giving back. This is you living a legacy. Not leaving a legacy, living a legacy today. You are a living human being. You are a living person. There's something for you to live for. There's a why that's greater than what you are today. And knowing that this right here is so important, that there's something that you're leaving behind every single day and there's something that you can live for that's bigger than yourself, should compel you to know that you can do something amazing in this world. So I implore you to exert yourselves. Find out what your why is. Use this formula. Use this strategy. Dig deeper into yourselves. Because you don't want to just live as a dog that's just barking. And you certainly don't want to be a dead lion. But I'm telling you today that you are an alive lion. Right now you are alive, right? Yes. You are alive. Would you choose between being an alive, barking dog or an alive, wild lion today? What's your answer? A lion. So for those of you that chose a live, wild lion, be compelled to know that there's a why inside of you that's worth living. There's a why that's inside of you that's worth going out and fighting for. Be the wild lion that's inside of you and have the why worth living. All right, so how was that for you? The why worth living. So what's your why? Are you the wild lion? That quote was from wise King Solomon. A living dog is worth more than an alive lion. So what are you doing with your life while you're living? Your life is so worthwhile. There's so many things that are worth living for. There's so many things that are worth going for. And once again, I don't want to just be all optimistic and positive, but there's so many wonderful things to live for in this life. And sometimes people just look at their obstacles and they just look at all the things that are keeping them from having that incredibly purposeful and abundant life. I don't want you just to have an all right life. I want you to have an abundant life that's filled with so much more. And I want you to have super clear purpose for where you are in your life. And when you go through this process, you'll be able to actually find out what your life purpose is. How cool would that be? And you'll be able to build a roadmap for your why and go deeper into what your why is and go deeper into what drives you, motivates you, and gets you going in your life. And you'll be able to have vision to see things in the future. As the proverb says, a man without vision shall perish. You want to have vision to see yourself, not for where you are, but where you can be. So this is the important part. This is what really matters. And when you attach your why, as I said in the video, to your legacy, there's so much that can happen from that. So the second step in the life purpose and abundance process is your clarity blueprint. Your clarity blueprint. So what does this mean, your clarity blueprint? Well, you want to be clear on your mind. You want to be clear on your life. And you want to know where you are. Because when you know where you are, you know where you can go. Right? So the great thing about this program is that you are able to figure out where you are. And this is what you need to do. You need to be able to figure out where you are so that you can then go to the places that you want to go. What we often find is that people go to places, but they don't know exactly how they get there. And when you know exactly where you are, and when you're clear on your blueprint, and you're clear on where you're going, then there's ways for you to actually move forward. There's ways for you to actually get to where you want to go in your destination. And one of the ways that we help you get there is through the Abundance Life Wheel. And it's a game that I developed to help you figure out where you're at in your life so that you can be more clear, so you can find out where you are, so you can get unstuck, and really so you can live your life with more purpose and abundance. So we're going to help you figure out where you are, and then we're going to keep you accountable so that you can start moving in the directions that you want to go to. And it's so valuable to figure that out, where you are. Step number 3 in this process is your amazing self. I can't keep saying this enough. You are incredibly amazing. You were created as someone that was so amazing. So amazing. Every hair on your head was counted before you were born. There were so many wonderful gifts inside of you before you actually started doing anything in this life. While you were still kicking and screaming, you had a destiny and you had a plan laid out for you. And there's so much potential inside of you. And somewhere, some people lose their identity somewhere along life. And unfortunately, things happen that are outside of their control, outside of their circumstances. And those things debilitate them from really achieving the success that they want to have in life and the happiness and abundance that they really deserve to have in life. You deserve to have happiness and abundance, don't you? Yeah, you do. And I do too. And that's why I'm here, because I know that I am amazing. In fact, when I figured out that my real calling in my life is to help people connect with their authentic, amazing self so that they can live with more passion and have more abundance in their life, I just really knew that that just so connected so deeply with me that I wanted to share that message to the world. And that's why I'm sharing it to you, is that you, my friend, can have a life that's filled with so much purpose, so much abundance, so much greatness. And if you just choose to believe that and choose to go along this journey with me as we actually figure out your life purpose and abundance, your amazing self will come to life. So how do we find that out? We need to know who you are. Let's figure out who you are. Let's figure out what your beliefs are. Let's figure out how to get those strengths out of you so that you can start operating your strengths. How about figuring out your identity and your personality? We help you go through your life languages to find out what language you speak. That'd be cool to find out, wouldn't it? And more in depth than that, we help you find out and identify with the amazing self that you are. So this is an incredibly vital part of the process. We put it earlier on, and it's very, very motivating for you to figure out where you are so that you can start moving forward and become the incredible, amazing person that you were created to be. The fourth step in the life purpose and abundance process is your Values Finder 360. So your Values Finder 360. Now what does that mean, Scott? Well, I've developed a game that helps you find out what your core values are. And there's 360 values in that game. So of those 360 values, you own some of them as your essential core values. And when we help you find out what your essential core values are, you will love it. Why? Well, you probably don't know what your core values are. If you do, I'd be very shocked, because there's very, very few people that I ever talk to that actually have even a few of their values lined up to what they really are. And they love this process. I've worked with people for around 4 years with this process of helping them find out what their core values are. And when they find out what their core values are, they have so much life. They can move forward. They can do so many amazing things. They can start making decisions that are more authentic to them. Their core values are starting to become ingrained in them. They always were, but they start to know what they actually are. Instead of subconsciously doing all kinds of things, they start to actually consciously bring those values to the front, and then they can use those values to do incredible things. Your mind operates on the subconscious almost entirely. But when you use that 4 or 5% of the conscious mind, by bringing your values into that part of it, you can start using them as filters to make awesome decisions. I go through 12 benefits that your core values can help you with. And I break it up into 4 different categories, because it's important to know what your values are depending on your situation, depending on the decision that you need to make. And those 4 categories are your health and well-being, your love and relationship, your God and spirituality, and your work and finances. So depending on where you're at in your life and whether or not it's a love and relationship decision that you need to make, you need to draw upon those values. So in a fun way, we help you with your values, we help you get focused with your values, we help you get clarity with where your values are, how to use them as filters, how to start incorporating them into your life. And it's a fun process. It's all part of your life plan to figure out your life purpose and your abundance. So it's vital to know what your core values are. I love it. So going back to my story, when I did all these things and I was a bit lost, or I didn't know where I was going, I didn't know what my core values were. In fact, I didn't even figure them out until I was into my coaching program, till the core values section. And all of a sudden I started to think about it. It's like, oh, well, that would be important to know. And finally, my life coach, who's still my coach today, helped me find out what my values were through a long process of a huge list, and I just picked them out. Now, I thought this was great because I knew what my values were, but it was actually tedious for me to pick them out and try to figure out whether or not they're really authentic. So that's why I decided to go way deeper than that and build a game so that it would help you, in-depthly help you be authentic and real about what your real core values are, and then move you forward. So this is an incredibly valuable process. Your Values Finder 360 will help you so much in this process. So what have we done to this point? We've helped you with your life purpose. We've helped you with your clarity blueprint, your amazing self, help you find out your values through your Values Finder 360. And now what? Your abundance mindset. Your abundance mindset is so essential. For you to be able to move forward, you need to have an abundance mindset. Now, what is that? Well, first of all, let's look at what the scarcity mindset is. The scarcity mindset is a lack thinking. It's a preventative thinking that holds you back from really becoming who you know that you can be. And it actually is a lack thinking that is like, if there's only this much and some of it gets taken away, I can never replace that some of it that was taken away. That's the kind of thinking that it is. Now, this scarcity mindset pollutes all kinds of areas. It pollutes industries. It pollutes business. It pollutes your relationship with your spouse or with your closest relatives or even friends. There's so many ways that your scarcity mindset is operating today, and we need to work on getting rid of that scarcity mindset before we can even replace it with the abundance mindset. Now, I have 5 keys to creating the abundance mindset. I help you go deep into those 5 keys so that you can start incorporating your abundance mindset and then even go further. Because what is abundance? Abundance is overflow. Abundance is more than enough. And I believe that at the heart of the definition of what abundance is, it's believing that you were created as more than enough. You have more than enough. And that more than enough is coming to you in the future. How about that? So the abundance mindset is an incredibly valuable part of this process. And we're going to use the abundance mindset all the way through this program so that you would be able to tap into that mindset when you need to, when you feel you're having a rough day. And there's ways to tap into it. It's not just a positive mindset up here, because positive is just like saying, I have snow on the driveway, no snow, no snow, no snow, no snow, and it's all going to go away. It's like, that doesn't work. You and I both know that. And we could be as positive as we want. Sometimes we need to be real in life. And abundance, the abundance mindset allows you to be real in the midst of the hardships, the struggles, and everything else, so that you'll be able to actually move forward. You still would be able to have joy within that abundance mindset and move forward with that abundance mindset. So it's an incredibly valuable part of this program. What is step 6? Step 6 is the responsibility actualizer. The responsibility actualizer is an incredibly valid part. You need to just start taking responsibility for your life. Yee! The brakes come on. I like what you were saying about the mindset stuff. The core values sounded good. Responsibility, I'm putting my brakes on. Well, that's the reaction some people have. Who are you to say that I need to take responsibility? You don't know what I've been through. You don't know what I have to do. I'm so busy. No, listen. This is your life. Are you who you want to be? Are you where you want to be? There's a song by Switchfoot that says that. This is your life. Are you who you want to be? Are you where you want to be? And if you're looking at the big picture, where do you want to be in your life? And we're going to help you, before we get to this part, figure out where you really want to be. But in order to get to where you really want to be, what kind of responsibility are you taking for you to choose and to move forward and to actually go for where you really want to go for where you really want to be? It's so vital, it's so important. If you don't do this, you could definitely get caught up and you could get lost in this whole process. All right? So, the responsibility actualizer is so important. The next step, step 7, is the commitment umbrella. Woohoo! What is that? An umbrella! Here you have an umbrella. What does it do? An umbrella is a covering. It is a covering that comes over top of you. It's a covering that protects you from the elements. And what elements are they? Well, the sleet, the snow, and all different kinds of things. Well, let's look at it this way. What does an umbrella do? It protects and covers over you from life's hurdles, life's struggles, life's hardships, life's obstacles, life's blocks, all of these different things. How would you love to have an umbrella covering over top of you? The umbrella also is a boundary. Because what we find is that so many people have boundaries that are crossed because they are not making commitments. They're not committed to what they need to be committed to, or they're overcommitted, or whatever it is. Some people come in here and they're just saying yes to everything, and all of a sudden they feel, ooh, I'm getting stuck here because I'm saying yes to everything and I'm too overwhelmed. And that feeling happens. So they're not committed to the things that are really authentic to them. So what do we do with the commitment umbrella? Well, we go through an amazing process that helps you use commitments to your advantage. And the great thing about it is that it's simple, it's easy to use, easy to follow, but it will change the way you think about your decisions. It will change the way that you think about goals. You will put your goals are going to be part of this, but you're going to start to look at commitments over top of goals. You're going to start to look at how you can stay committed and be committed and really drive that commitment to be everything that you want to be. Because this is your life. Are you who you want to be? Are you where you want to be? And commitments are going to help you get both. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to look at the commitment umbrella. We're going to take a look at how it can operate. And we're going to look at the goals that you have underneath that and how you can set the best goals that are authentic to you, that make sense, that are within your commitments, and all of that. So this is a very important part to find out what your life purpose is and your abundance. What is the 8th step in the life purpose and abundance process? Well, the 8th step is your deciding factor. Now, what is that, Scott? Your deciding factor? Well, it's really in 2 parts. Number 1, you need to make really good decisions. How do you make good decisions? Well, by incorporating all that we've learned so far is one way. By looking again at your life plan and your purpose plan and taking a relook at that. Taking a look at your vision board that we created earlier. Taking a look at who you are, taking a look at where you're going, taking a look at your amazing self, taking a look at your abundance mindset and how you're looking at things and your perspectives and how that all looks. And then also, of course, taking a look at your values, because it's important to use your values now as filters to make the best decisions. And I guarantee you, if you start incorporating what I've taught you at this time and also start really working this into your life, the deciding factor is going to start working for you. And how would you love that? To have life start working for you. I love that. When life starts just like happening. When money actually comes in. When you're attracting abundance instead of you just striving and striving and striving and working and digging and plowing and digging and plowing. Life can work like that. In fact, you know that it's true because you see the successful examples. There's people in your life and there's people out there that you see, you know, how do they just keep on getting those things? Every time I come into that person's house or in their sphere, I just feel just excited, or I feel like I'm energized when I leave a conversation with that person. It's because they're using these steps, and their deciding factor is that they're making amazing decisions that are authentic to them. So you need to start working and making amazing decisions that are authentic to you. And the second part is the deciding factor. What is the deciding factor that's going to change your life? What is the breakthrough factor that's going to change your life? There's something that you need to seize, and we're going to teach you about seizing those moments. We're going to teach you about how to work with those moments, and we're going to teach you how to make the deciding factors that change your world, change your life. And once again, I told you about a decision that I needed to make when I was at that wedding in Toronto, and my future wife was there, and I knew that I was attracted to her. I also knew that I needed to make a move, and if I wouldn't make that move, that she was going to be gone. And I didn't know this at the time, but she was actually set to go out to a different wedding after the reception of the wedding that I was at, that she saw me at and I saw her at. Now, if she would have gone to that other wedding, she was supposed to go there and meet another guy. I don't know what would have happened. I believe that we were meant to be together, so that's how I know that I did the right thing, but also there was that part of it when I found that out later where I was like, wow, if I wouldn't have asked her and seized my moment, what would have happened? Would I have just flittered away as somebody that she thought was attractive at this wedding and that was it? Would I have regretted my decision? Would I have had an opportunity to make another stand or make another decision? What I needed to do was make a decision, and sometimes you need to decide on the spot. So I made a decision on the spot to ask this girl to dance. And by me asking this girl to dance, I really meant I want to get to know you. And I asked her to dance, and shortly after that, I asked her to go out and we talked in the courtyard for about 2 hours, and her friends were wondering where we were, and we ended up going in this wagon where we weren't allowed to go and got in a little bit of trouble, but it was fun and we got to know each other, and I knew that this is somebody that I really wanted to get to know more. And very shortly after that I fell in love with, and I knew that I wanted to marry her, and now she is my wife. So how different would my life have been if I didn't make my decision? If I wouldn't have stood for what I wanted at that time? We're going to help you with making those decisions. We're going to help you know what decisions you need to make. And we're going to help you seize those moments with the deciding factor. The 9th step. Your best self. The 9th step is your best self. Who is your best you? Who is your best you? When you are at your absolute best, what do you look like? What do you feel like? What's happening in your life? How are you responding to situations? How are you letting things wash off you? We're going to help you, bring you through the visualizations, the tools, the steps, the processes, the blueprint on how to figure out what your best you is so that you can live an amazing life And you can know and bring all this stuff together from your life purpose all the way through your abundance and be your best and just be so much, be at peace and be at fullness with who you are and what you're doing, and have passion with what you're doing too. How would you love to just feel like you wake up in the morning and you just love your life? You're bounced out of bed and my life is awesome. And when things happen and that left hook happens, you can take it and not stay down on the ground all day, and you can move forward. That's the kind of life I want for you, and that's the kind of life you deserve to have. Now, once again, going back to my story, I didn't know what my best self was. I didn't know all of these things. But as I started my coaching process and as I started to really identify who I was and what mattered to me and what my core values were and how to develop this abundance mindset, there really was a gift from God so that I'd be able to move forward and move through things, taking responsibility for every aspect of my life, starting to make commitments that really mattered to me, and then making those decisions where I needed to just seize those moments and seize the day to actually go forward and being my best self. My life changed. It was not the same, and I want that for you. I want you to have a transformed life, and you can have it. I know it because I've lived it. I've walked people through this process. I know this because it's so ingrained in who I am, and I believe it so deeply. My conviction's coming through to you in this camera. I know it. So have faith and know that you can be your best self. The 10th step to the life, purpose, and abundance process is your happiness multiplier. How would you love to have a happy life? Woohoo! Yeah! Of course you would. Happiness is a fantastic feeling. In fact, isn't that what you're looking for? All the things that you say that you're looking for, don't they all boil down to two things? Happiness and lifestyle. You want a lifestyle and you want a happy lifestyle. You want to be able to have and afford and to live a happy life and just have the lifestyle that you want in the process, don't you? Well, I want you to have that too. So what do we do with this? I'm going to teach you the steps that'll help you live the happy life that you deserve to have. You're going to be able to make your decisions to be happy. You're going to be able to find that place deeply where you're just at peace and you're spiritually happy. And we're going to actually show you some in-depth theories and science behind happiness, and we're going to go into some of the really nitty-gritty areas of what makes people happy, what makes people stuck, what makes people know that they can really just rise above, and what makes those people extremely happy day after day that keeps them going, and it's totally authentic, and they don't have to be on drugs in order to do that. Here's a question. How would you love to get off the drugs that you're on? Now, I'm not coming to you from a position of being your doctor, but if you were happy and you had a lifestyle that you loved, would that change anything for you? I'd imagine that it would. I want you to be extremely happy from the inside and out. So I'm going to teach you in this process how to have the happy life that you deserve. And we're gonna spend the time and we're gonna go deep into happiness and the brain psychology and everything that has to do with happiness. The 11th step to the life purpose and abundance process is the principle map. Principles are all around us. Whether or not you think that you live with principles, you do. I promise you that's just the way that we're ingrained. We're built with conscious in our mind. We're built with a moral standing in our mind. That's how we were created. And you know that because of all the ways that you want to do good, but sometimes you don't. And then that disparity tells you that there's principles behind that you either stepped over or that you held true to. The principles that we're going to talk about, the principles for success that you need to have to keep you consistent and going on an upward vertical direction. Why are these important? Well, we need you to know that you went through all of this and it still mattered. If you go through all of this and you slide back into the old self that you used to have when you didn't know yourself and you went through all this program stuff and you're still slouching your shoulders and my life is just whatever, then I didn't do you a good service. And in fact, you enrolled in the program that just really just wasted your time in a lot of ways if you didn't get results out of it. Now, the results are up to you. I'm going to help you during the process, but the results are up to you. When you look at the principle map, we're going to show you the principles that you need to have in your life through the principles of courage and vision and character and leadership, so that you would be able to move forward with those. Now, these principles go in depth, and there's going to be optional principles that we can talk about, and there's going to be the mandatory ones that we're going to talk about. Why are there mandatory ones and why are there optional ones? Well, if you really feel that you want to go deeper, I have 40 principles for you to go through, and you can go through all 40. If you know that you just need the nutshell ones, then I have those nutshell ones that are really going to help you just get deep with the important principles that are going to help you succeed in life and gain that consistency and momentum. I want you to succeed. But it's proven with universal success principles that you need to do something in order to help that succeed. So that's why we go through the principle map. And step number 12, last step. And really this is what it's all about, isn't it? It's all about this word right here. Your legacy. The 12th step is your legacy factor. What legacy are you living today? Whether or not you know that you're living a legacy, you are. Whatever you do, you're leaving a footprint behind. And that footprint is being left behind by to your neighbors, to your environment, to your family, to your country, to the world. You are a citizen of this great earth, and you're leaving a footprint behind. But what kind of footprint do you want to leave behind? What kind of contribution do you want to make in this world? What kind of difference do you want to make in this world? And we're going to tie the first step all the way through all of these steps to your legacy factor. And we're going to make sure that all of this is clear, that it's authentic, and that it's true for you. Because you need to know that your life purpose stands for something. And you need to know that your life purpose and abundance that you have in your life stands for something more than you are. And how do you know when you're living in your legacy? Your legacy is bigger than yourself. The legacy that you have is so vast. There's so many elements, there's so many ripples, there's so many butterfly effects that happen with you by touching one person, by doing one thing. So you know that there's something that's greater inside of you. You know that there's something deeper inside of you. You know that there's a passion that's driving you, that there's something motivating you, don't you? This 12-step program is actually a 12-step program that I'm launching right now. And if you didn't figure it out already, there's a coaching program that goes along with all of this. And it's so intense that I call it a process, and it's a 1-year process. And what we're going to do in this process is we're going to take you through 1 month at a time for each of these steps. First month, we're going to talk about your life purpose plan. We're going to go in depth with that. We're going to talk in the second month about your clarity blueprint. We're going to go into depth with that. And then we're going to talk about your amazing self for an entire month and dig deep into what that is. We're going to help you find out your values with your values finder in the 4th month. The 5th month is going to be all about your abundance mindset and how to have that. The 6th month is about the responsibility actualizer, just taking responsibility and making it count. The 7th month is the commitment umbrella, and we're going to help you make commitments that are really true and authentic so that you can set the right goals and move forward. The 8th month is going to be your deciding factor, and you're going to find out how you can make the best decisions to make you money, to make you successful, to make you everything that you want to be. The 9th month is going to be entirely dedicated to your best self. And we're going to work on your best self with your mindset and with everything else so that you'll be able to move forward in your best self. The 10th month is your happiness multiplier. You're going to be happy after this. And we're going to help you with your happiness so you'll be able to grow and flourish with your happiness. The 11th month is the principle map. So you're going to be able to find out what principles matter and work on the principles that will move you towards consistent vertical success so that you can know that you're tying it all together we're going to go into the 12th month, your legacy factor. And with that, you're going to be able to tie every piece of the puzzle together so that you would have a life purpose that's filled with abundance and filled with passion and filled with legacy, so that you would know that you're making a difference in this world. So how is this program going to work? Well, what you're going to do is give me a call or just click the link below so that I'd be able to give you a call. And what we'll do is I will set up a time for us to have a chat, so we'll be able to go into depth with how this can work for you and really just do a strategy session on your life plan. So that's what we're going to do is I'm going to have a 30-minute call with you, and we're going to go into depth about what your life plan is and go into strategy to see if this program is a fit for you. And because it's in beta mode, I will tell you this little secret: it's going to cost you a lot less while it's in beta mode. And that's actually a really, really good secret to know about. A lot of the information is below, but you're going to have one-on-one coaching with me. There's going to be a group aspect to this program, whereas you're going to be able to work alongside other people that are going through the same month that you're going through. So if we're working on your values, it'd be great to know what other people's opinions are on your values when you get on your group calls. So every month there's going to be set times for group calls, and on these mastermind calls we're going to be able to go deeper into discussions about what this means, and I'll be live there for you for laser coaching. Now, in addition to that, I'm going to do one-on-one coaching with you every single month, and this isn't just a here's a one sheet on this. I have over 400 pages of in-depth workbook material that you can work through, and a lot of it is optional, but most of it, well, a lot of it is mandatory as well for you to actually get the maximum result, and you'll be able to unlock different levels for each month. So it's an incredibly intuitive, incredibly innovative process to help you move forward. And I think that through games and through this innovative process, you will be engaged through that, and that's why we do it that way. I've spent a lot of time working on games and innovating so that you can have an abundant process that's filled with fun aspects and also enlightening and inspiring aspects, so that you can move forward, so that you can also have that life purpose and abundance that you really need to have in your life. So all you have to do is click the button below, and you'll immediately receive access to book your complimentary session with me, and I'll be able to help you with your life plan and start you on the process so that you can find your life purpose and abundance in all ways in your life. I hope that this has been inspiring for you. My name is Scott App. Until we chat again, live with passion and have abundance in life. When you were younger, you dreamed about your life. You believed that you would be able to achieve greatness and that you would become incredible. You were a winner, and you would defend your dream against any challenges. Somewhere you may have lost some of that winning spirit, and the champion in you may have faded. Your life coach will help you become that champion again. You are not expected to battle through life alone. Making positive changes takes guidance and direction. Your coach will support you and pick you up when you get knocked down. Your coach will stand in your corner and back you when you feel weak. Your coach will inspire you when you need direction and provide you with wisdom that will put your goals back on track. Partner with a champion whose goal is to see you soar to the summit of your dreams. At Abundance Coaching, our goal is to take your great and make it greatness. Hi, I'm Scott F., and I believe that each of us can live awesome lives that are filled with abundance. Abundance is believing that you are more than enough, you have more than enough, and that more than enough is coming to you in the future. Having abundance in life is about allowing yourself to find harmony in every area of your life. Abundance is not a destination. It is a mindset and an awesome way of life, and you can have it too. You will be empowered and encouraged by our life coaching approach. You will get clarity in what you really want out of life and get what you want faster. We believe that life coaching is about having intentional, purposeful, and powerful conversations that are focused on you moving forward. Together, we will push through the obstacles that block you from reaching your full potential. Do you want to realize an authentic, purposeful, and powerful way of living? Do you need a change? Do you want more abundance in life? Let's start the process that will take your great and make it greatness.